Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala, paper 15, module 10, airborne diseases. In the previous 3 modules, we have already discussed about the waterborne diseases. In this part, we will discuss about the different airborne diseases, their causative agents and further what type of disease is caused by these microbes. So, introducing about the subject, air is one of the most important abiotic components that supports life on this earth. It contains oxygen, which is one of the essential gas for human survival, besides several other biotic and abiotic components. Out of these, some biotic and abiotic components are major sources of several acute and chronic diseases for humans and animals. The diseases that are transmitted and spread through the air are called airborne diseases. The pathogens enter the air through exhalation in the form of cough, sneeze or talk, spewing nasal and throat secretions into the air of an infected person. The major contributor in the airborne disease are the water droplets and dust particles that act as carriers for these pathogens. The pathogens settle down on these droplets and dust particles and travel distance along with their currents. So, there are basically 3 transmission factors which lead to transmission of these microbes from person to person or place to place. These transmission factors are number 1, size of droplets. Droplets larger than 100 micrometer fall to the ground quickly and get contaminated with dust. These may enter human body by inhalation or direct contact and may cause diseases. Droplets smaller than 100 micrometers suspend in the air and travel over short distances depending on surrounding conditions. Very tiny droplets smaller than 5 micrometer stay within the atmosphere for longer period of time and may travel longer distances after settling on the particulate matter. These smaller droplets enter the human body mostly by inhalation and can easily penetrate in the respiratory tract by crossing various filtration checkpoints of the respiratory system. The another is duration of exposure. The chances of infection increase with the increase of duration of exposure to an airborne pathogen. In other words, people who are in closeness to an infected person over a longer period of time are at greater risk than those who have very limited contact with these resources. People associated with the healthcare departments and hospitals are at particular risk. The other factors are the probability of contracting the infection are unsanitary households, overcrowding, higher population density susceptibility, or the peoples belong to the weakened immune system because of another illness or malnutrition. Airborne diseases can be classified on the basis of causative agents into different types. Now, classification of airborne diseases. The airborne diseases can be classified into 3 main types depending on the basis of class of causative agent. Basically, we have divided into 3 parts, one are bacterial, fungal and the third one are viral. So, students, now we will start discussing the airborne bacterial diseases one by one. So, the first one and most important one is the tuberculosis. Tuberculosis is commonly called TB. The disease is contagious and spread from person to person through air. When any infected person coughs or sneezes, nearby people may be infected by inhaling bacteria through breathing. Although the bacteria can attack any part of the human body, but it most commonly stick to the lungs and causes TB of lungs. Causative agent. The causative agent is Mycobacterium. Although 8 mycobacterial species M. tuberculosis, M. bovis, M. africanum, M. microti, M. capreae, M. pinnipedi, M. cannati and M. mungi together make the M. tuberculosis complex and can cause TB. But Mycobacterium tuberculosis is the most common species found to cause disease in humans. Symptoms of tuberculosis are commonly called TB. The symptoms of TB depend on the infected part of the body. The main symptoms associated to lung infected tuberculosis are a bad cough continuously for 2 or more weeks, chest pain, coughing up blood or sputum, weakness or fatigue, rapid loss of weight, loss of appetite, chills, fever, sweating at night, etc. Transmission. M. tuberculosis is transmitted through airborne droplet nuclei of 1 to 5 micrometers. Infectious droplet nuclei spread in the air through cough, sneeze, shout or sing of person already suffering from pulmonary or laryngeal TB. Depending on the environmental conditions, these tiny particles may persist in air for several hours. Transmission occurs when these M. tuberculosis containing droplets enter in the mouth or nasal passages, adhere in the primary respiratory tract and finally reach to the bronchi and alveoli of the lungs. Incubation period. The incubation period of M. tuberculosis may vary from 2 weeks to 12 weeks. A person may remain contagious for a long time as long as viable TB bacteria are present in sputum and during the time of medication up to several weeks. However, some infected people may suppress the infection and show symptoms after some years or some never develop any symptoms or become contagious. Diagnosis. The diagnosis of TB can be done using various imaging techniques and chemical testing like skin, sputum and blood. The imaging technique involves chest X-ray or a CT scan. The latent tuberculosis diagnosis carried out by the skin test called Mantoux tuberculin skin test or the tuberculin skin test or TST is the most common test. The test involves tuberculin infection in the skin at arm, which is made from killed mycobacterium. In about 48 to 72 hours, the skin is examined for induration by a qualified person. A positive swelling means the patient has been exposed to live mycobacterium either via infection or via vaccination. No swelling suggests the person tests negative for TB. The diagnosis of active tuberculosis is carried by the sputum culture or tissue biopsy method. However, these methods may take time of few weeks due to slow growing nature of the bacteria. Similarly, blood tests may be used to confirm active tuberculosis. The examples of TB blood tests are quantiferon TB, gold in tube test and T-spot TB. Next is the treatment of tuberculosis. The treatment of tuberculosis involves three phases. The first phase of treatment is to cure the patient. Second and third are to prevent the spread of TB and to prevent the development of drug resistance related to the TB. For the treatment of TB, there are more than 20 drugs available which are prescribed in different combinations in different circumstances. For the active and multi-drug resistant tuberculosis bacterium, combination of drugs is required at the same time. The most common antibiotics used to treat tuberculosis include isoniazid, rifampicin, rifadin, rimactin, ethambutol, pyrazinamide. For the drug resistant TB, a combination of antibiotics called fluoroquinolones and injectable medicines such as amikacin, Ka-nemicin or capreomycin are generally prescribed for 20 to 30 months. In some exceptional cases, the bacterium also developed resistance to these medicines as well. BCG, Bacilli calmette guerin vaccine, is a vaccine used in some countries to reduce childhood infections. Then prevention and precautions. The first step of TB prevention is to stop the transmission of TB from one person to other. This can be done by proper identification of people with active TB and then curing them through the proper and timely medication. Further, since the person with the pulmonary tuberculosis remain contagious up to 2 to 3 weeks, hence these patients are kept in isolation. If isolation is not possible, then some precautions are important to prevent its spread. These include isolation from crowded places like schools, colleges, markets, covering of mouth and nose while coughing and sneezing, adequate and careful disposal of tissues, usually burning or disposal in sealed plastic bags is recommended. Avoid sharing of beds and rooms with uninfected persons. Then the second airborne bacterial disease is whooping cough or also called pertussis. Whooping cough is serious illness mainly found in babies, children, teen and adults. Its causative agent. It is caused by Bordetella pertussis, a germ-negative aerobic Coccobacillus bacterium. Symptoms of whooping cough. The disease usually starts with symptoms like mild cough, running nose, cold or fever. The early symptoms of running nose, cold, cough and fever generally remain constant throughout the course of the disease. Later stage symptoms of the disease after 1 to 2 weeks progression are frequent events of paroxysms, that is fits, rapid cough with a high pitched sound like whoop, vomiting during or after coughing and fits, exhaustion, that means very tired after coughing fits, etc. Transmission. The Bordetella pertussis transmission occurs through person to person contact via airborne droplets or by direct contact with throat or nasal discharges of infected persons. The most common mode of transmission are coughing and sneezing. Incubation period. The symptoms of whooping cough period usually appear within 5 to 10 days, though it can take as long as 20 days. Diagnosis. The diagnosis of the disease is difficult in its early stages because of its resemblance to common cold or bronchitis. As the whooping cough bacteria aggregate in the respiratory secretions, the confirmed diagnosis may be carried by taking the nose and throat swabs. For further detection, imaging X-ray and blood tests may also be performed. Treatment and prevention. The disease is prevented by childhood vaccination of DTaP and adulthood booster dose of Tdap. Antibiotics are also available for the treatment of whooping cough. The effectiveness of these antibiotics is very high when given in the very early stages of the disease. Antibiotic treatment started after the disease is well established and may be recommended to reduce the bacteria spreading, but it may not reduce the severity of the symptoms. Then third, airborne bacterial disease. This is meningitis. Bacterial meningitis is one of the serious and deadly disease caused by airborne microbes. The disease is so severe that very few people recover from meningitis. Mostly infected persons suffer from the permanent disabilities such as brain damage, hearing loss, learning disabilities, etc. Causative agent. There are several types of bacteria that can cause meningitis. For example, Streptococcus pneumonia, Group B Streptococcus, Neisseria meningitidis, Haemophilus influenza, Listeria monocytogenes, etc. Transmission. Meningitis bacteria are transmitted among the people through air contaminated with respiratory and throat secretions. Generally, the close contact or lengthy contact with infected person spread these bacteria. Symptoms. Meningitis symptoms include sudden event of fever, headache and stiff neck. There are other symptoms such as nausea, vomiting, photophobia, altered mental status, etc. Incubation period. According to the World Health Organization (WHO), the incubation period is between 2 to 10 days. Diagnosis. Diagnosis of bacterial meningitis is through blood culture method. It examines the growth of microorganisms, especially bacteria. The gram staining is performed for identification of bacterial stain. Computerized tomography or magnetic resonance scans are also used for the detection of head swelling or inflammation. X-rays or CT scans of the chest or sinuses may also show infection in other areas what may be associated with meningitis. Treatment and prevention. Acute bacterial meningitis must be treated immediately with intravenous antibiotics. The immediate treatment provides safeguard from the complications such as swelling and enlargement of brain. The dose of antibiotics and their combinations depend on the type of infected bacterial species. Generally, broad spectrum antibiotics are recommended until the exact cause of the meningitis is detected. The fourth and most common airborne bacterial disease is pneumonia. Pneumonia is an infection of the lungs with a range of possible causes. It can be a serious and life-threatening disease. Causative agent. It can be caused by bacteria, virus or fungi. Bacterial pneumonia is the most commonly used type in adults. Streptococcus pneumonia is most common bacteria responsible for pneumonia. It can enter the lungs through inhalation. Transmission. Pneumonia can spread by many ways. The bacteria that are commonly hosted in the child's nose or throat reach to the lungs via inhalation. The infectious bacteria may also blow out in air droplets by cough or sneeze. In addition, pneumonia may also infect blood shortly after birth. The research is very limited on different pathogens causing pneumonia and the mode of transmission. Therefore, the treatment and prevention of this disease is very critical. Symptoms. The symptoms of bacterial pneumonia are cough with the aggression of thick yellow and green or blood tinged mucus, intense chest pain that become very painful when coughing or breathing, sudden onset of chills and shivering body temperature 100 to 205 degree Fahrenheit or above. Some other symptoms are headache and muscle pain, breathlessness or rapid breathing, moist skin. Diagnosis. Diagnosis is carried out by number 1, chest sounds for the indication of heavy secretion of mucus, white blood cell count culture, mucus or sputum culture tests, chest X-ray, etc. Treatment. Antibiotics are preferably used for the treatment of pneumonia. The antibiotic commonly used is amoxicillin dispersible tablets. Prevention. To reduce child mortality, prevention of pneumonia is essential task for the health and child care workers. Dense and frequent immunization program is the only and effective way to prevent pneumonia. After bacterial diseases, we are now next discussing the airborne viral diseases. Out of these, the most important one is chickenpox or varicella. It is a viral disease known for its itchy red blisters that appear all over the skin. Causative agent. The virus belongs to the herpes virus category. Exactly, varicella zoster virus is responsible for the disease transmission. This disease spreads through inhaling the infected droplets resulting from coughing or sneezing by infected person. Symptoms. The main symptom of the chickenpox is skin irritation and red itchy rashes. The rashes further develop into fluid filled blisters. It usually appears mainly on the face, chest and back and then spreads to rest of the body. Other symptoms include loss of appetite, tiredness, fever, headache, etc. Treatment and prevention. The best way to prevent chickenpox is to get the chickenpox vaccine. Children, adolescents and adults should get 2 doses of chickenpox vaccine. Most people who get the vaccine will not get chickenpox. If a vaccinated person does get chickenpox, it is usually mild with fewer red spots or blisters and mild or no fever. The chickenpox vaccine prevents almost all causes of severe disease. Use non-aspirin medicines such as acetaminophen to relieve fever from chickenpox. Do not use aspirin or aspirin containing products for the chickenpox. The use of aspirin in children with chickenpox may induce the Ray's syndrome, a severe disease that damages liver and brain and can cause death. After chickenpox, another very important airborne viral disease is influenza, or we commonly call it as flu. influenza or flu is a respiratory related illness caused by a virus. Flu is highly contagious and is normally spread by the coughing and sneezing of an infected person. Although unpleasant, flu is rarely life threatening. The causative agent. It is caused by various types of influenza viral strains. Three types of influenza viruses have been recognized. These are A, B and C. Type A is more common. Transmission. Influenza viruses are spread from person to person primarily through large particle respiratory droplet transmission. That is, when an infected person coughs or sneezes near a susceptible person. Transmission by a large particle droplets require close contact between the source and the recipient person. Because droplets do not remain suspended in air and generally travel only a short distance. Incubation period. The typical incubation period for influenza is 1 to 4 days and the average is 2 days. Symptoms. Symptoms are confusing flu with a bad cold is common. Flu and cold symptoms may both include a running or blocked nose, sore throat and cough. Some symptoms of flu that are different from a heavy cold. High temperature, cold sweats and shivers, headache, aching joints and limbs, feeling exhausted are the other. Diagnosis. A number of flu tests are available to detect influenza viruses in respiratory specimens. The most common are called rapid influenza diagnostic tests, RIDTs. These work by detecting the parts of the virus that stimulate an immune response. These tests can provide results within approximately 10 to 15 days, but are not as accurate as other flu tests. Treatments. As flu is caused by viruses, antibiotics cannot help unless the flu has led to another illness caused by bacteria. Antivirals such as oseltamivir, antivirals such as oseltamivir, that is Tamiflu, and Zanamivir, that is Relenza, may be prescribed in some circumstances. Painkillers can alleviate some of the symptoms such as headache and body pains. Some painkillers such as aspirin should not be given to children under 12. Individuals with flu should stay at home, avoid contact with other people wherever possible, keep warm and rest, consume plenty of fluids. Another important airborne viral disease is severe acute respiratory syndrome, that is SARS. The pathogenesis of SARS is highly complex with multiple factors leading to severe injury in the lungs and dissemination of the virus to several other organs. The SARS coronavirus targets the epithelial cells of the respiratory tracts and result in diffuse alveolar damage. Incubation period is 2 to 7 days. Clinical features. Initial symptoms are flu-like and may include lethargy, myalgia, cough, sore throat, fever and other non-specific symptoms. The only symptom common to all patients is fever above 38 degree centigrade. The shortness of breath and or pneumonia may also be linked to the SARS. Then prevention and treatment. There is no vaccine for SARS to date and isolation and quarantine remain the most effective means to prevent the spread of SARS. Other preventive measures include avoiding contact with bodily fluids, wearing a surgical mask, washing the personal items of SARS infected person with hot and soapy water, keeping the infected children away from the school. Now, we are shifting from bacterial and viral diseases to airborne fungal diseases, and among these the most common is aspergillosis. Aspergillosis is the name given to a wide variety of diseases caused by fungi of the genus Aspergillus. Fungus species of genus Aspergillus seem to be present both in the outdoor and indoor environment. It is responsible for the disease aspergillosis and patient with weakened immune system. This fungus targets the lungs and also known to develop some allergic reactions. Symptoms: different types of aspergillosis affect the body in various ways. Different types of aspergillosis have different symptoms. Allergic bronchopulmonary aspergillosis. In allergic bronchopulmonary aspergillosis, the fungus produce allergic reaction that cause the coughing and chest pain. Invasive aspergillosis. This type of aspergillosis invades lung tissues and may further spread to kidneys or brain. If invasive aspergillosis is not treated properly, it can cause infectious diseases like pneumonia, which can be life threatening. Diagnosis: blood tests for detection of antibodies, allergens and fungus molecules, chest X-ray, etc. CT scan of lungs, sputum stain and culture to examine of bronchial mucus. Treatment: antifungal medicine used for the treatment of all type of illness, oral or intravenous drugs such as voriconazole commonly used for the aspergillosis. Then another airborne fungal disease is cryptococcosis. It is caused by species Cryptococcus neoformans and Cryptococcus gattai. Transmission: the spores of Cryptococcus neoformans and Cryptococcus gattai present in the air enter into the respiratory tract. Symptoms: brain enlargement, lung infection, chest pain, low grade fever, dyspnea, weight loss and malaise. Diagnosis: biopsy with fungal stains and cultures, fungal culture, cryptococcal serology and cryptococcal antigen testing. Treatment: antifungal drugs like amphotericin B deoxycholate, flucytosine commonly used for the treatment. Preventions: C. neoformans mostly grows on the bird droppings, especially pigeon droppings. Therefore, people who have weak immune system should avoid contact with birds and bird droppings, especially contaminated sites. So, in the end, concluding that the airborne diseases are also one of the major cause of human health impacts. However, these can be easily prevented as compared to its cure. Prevention is easily and cure is difficult. Hence, in case of any airborne disease, try to prevent yourself to come in contact with the various various droplets or sneezing, coughing or fluids of the other persons who are having these types of diseases. Thank you all.